Over 800 plumbers and HVAC technicians have become millionaires since 2022 thanks to private equity. But how in the hell is that happening? I've got A-Rod with me here to explain how private equity works, how they're buying a business, how they finance it, and then how private equity goes and sells the business. Now, if you're a business owner, you need to know this. You might be selling your business to private equity one day. How do they actually make money? How do you make money? And how does this all work? I'm Matt Sorensen. Let's build wealth.
Well, let me walk you through a private equity deal. A business is throwing off $200, meaning $200 of free cash flow you can put in your pocket. For this business, we're gonna pay 5 times. So 200 times 5 times is $1,000.
All right, so A-Rod just explained how private equity values a business. They're looking at the profit of the business. Let's say it's a plumbing business that makes $800,000 a year in revenue, but has $200,000 a year in profit. Well, according to A-Rod's calculations, they take a 5 times multiple of the profit to get at a value, which in this case would be a $1 million plumbing business. That's right. If you have $200,000 in profit, this does not include your salary as the business owner, but $200,000 of profit after that, you would have a $1 million business. This is how private equity is minting HVAC technician and plumbing millionaires. Now, A-Rod next gets into how does private equity finance this? They don't actually pay $1 million for the business out of their pocket. So how do they actually finance the business?
We can get 4 turns on the 200. So 2 times 4 means we can put $800 of debt. So you're gonna borrow $800. You're gonna come in with $200 to equal 1,000.
All right, now let me explain what A-Rod was talking about there. He talks about 4 turns. Well, let's take the same $200,000 example of profit. That's the cash flow of the business. Now, a bank that typically lends to private equity, he explains, will do 4 turns. Again, this is a multiple of 4. So that means the bank is gonna come up with $800,000. This could be a private lender that typically lends to private equity, and the private equity firm only has to come out and pay $200,000 of their money to go and purchase the business. But the end result, the plumber selling their business is still getting $1 million. It just cost the private equity firm $200,000. There's debt of $800,000 on the business, which the bank knows it makes $200K a year, so it can pay us off over time, and they'll have loan payments and they'll stretch it out for maybe 5-10 years. But now the business is acquired. Now A-Rod's gonna explain how do they make money, because the private equity firm doesn't just wanna own this, they're gonna wanna go sell it for more money later on.
Now the fun starts. You start cutting expenses, you start raising revenue. Now your 200 over the next 3 years goes to 300. Now when you go sell it 300, you try to get a 6-time multiple. So 300 times 6 is now you get to sell the same business for $1,800. Now don't forget, you owe 800 and you put $1,000 right in your pocket.
All right, now let's follow the math there on what A-Rod was talking about. He said, let's say we can cut some expenses and raise revenue. So instead of having $200,000 of profit, we have $300,000 of profit. Okay, love that. Now, if we did a 5x multiple, that would be $1.5 million. If the private equity firm was able to sell the business for the same multiple they bought it for, that would be $1.5 million. But A-Rod says, no, they're gonna sell it for a 6x multiple. Why do they get to sell it for a 6x multiple? Generally, if they can grow the business and make it bigger, the larger the business, the higher the multiple value. Also, a lot of private equity firms will say, hey, we're gonna go buy 10 plumbing businesses and combine them, or 100 plumbing businesses and combine them. And now this company makes $100 million in revenue instead of one plumber making $1 million. Now we can get a 10x or a 12x or even a 15x multiple. Now, A-Rod's talking about just going from 5 to 6 here, which is reasonable. Now what we're saying though, because we have a little more profit, we're gonna have 1.8 million. Remember, in my example, the private equity firm only put in $200K of their own money. They've got to pay back the bank $800,000, but they're gonna walk home with $800,000 of profit off of a $200,000 investment. And that, in short, is how private equity works. Now, there's a lot of detail in there, obviously. They've got to grow the business, acquire it right, keep the right incentives, keep the customers, and there's certainly a lot of work in growing and being successful at private equity. But as you can see from the Wall Street Journal article, this is happening across the country. It's not just Wall Street and these big tech companies that are benefiting from private equity. It's also benefiting the plumber, the HVAC business, and turning them into millionaires as well in the process. But at the end of the day, who's making the most money on this? the private equity firms. Now, you can actually invest in private equity firms. By the way, you could invest your money with a private equity firm, your IRA money with a private equity firm. That's what we do at our company, Directed IRA. You don't have to run the private equity firm. So you can get exposure to this as an asset in your portfolio by investing in private equity firms. Maybe you're a small business owner looking to sell your business. Look at the businesses that are buying in your industry. There is likely a private equity firm buying businesses in your industry. Now, I love the private equity topic because it is at the crossroads of small business ownership and investing. It's something we help our clients and our law firm at KQS Lawyers, our investors at Directed IRA who are investing into alternative assets like private equity funds and small business. And it's something we talk about at my Alternative Asset Summit, altassetsummit.com, where we have speakers on private equity and on small business. Please subscribe to my channel for more information and tips on how to build wealth, how to save taxes, protect your assets. I'm Matt Sorensen. We'll see you next time.